This movie before. How many have seen on 35? Ooh. I'm Daniel, I'm the film programmer. I'm just going to be really quick and say thanks to everyone for coming out and our special guests who I'm about to bring up to the stage, who are having a chinwag over there. So we have a very special duo, the film directors, filmmakers, people who brought this to Sundance, to the world, to me as a 13-year-old, all very important. Come on up. Have yourself a chat.
Yay! Hello. All right, we bring Dave home to LA. 19 years later.
Only blocks from where a lot of scenes were shot, actually.
Yeah, we were rolling over here on down Melrose, and we hadn't been on Melrose for a while. That's where you will shortly experience the, I guess it was a break between the sound check and the show at the Viper Room. Some of you know it intimately well. Dave Darazinski is somewhere in this room, the original manager of the Brian Jonestown Massacre. Please stand, David, for a round of applause. Okay. I guess we should ask for a show of hands of how many of you are repeat offenders here? Like, how many of you are Dig fans? Okay.
It's about half.
That's good.
And
That's how many are new to this experience?
First timers, okay.
Wow.
So we can't give anything away. Nothing
Well,
was like a big
Dave,
spoiler.
you're going to want to find him afterwards.
Yeah, you can ask
You're
him
going to want to
questions.
find him. And it's a good giveaway that he's still alive, too, which is great. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I thought we should just, David, my brother, and I shot this film together when we were 24.
Well, I mean, I was 22 out of college.
So
I was right
24.
out of college. There you go, 22 to 24.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it started in 1995 or 6. Actually, you'll see the date when it comes on. But it came out of a project that I was starting when David was still in college, about 10 bands. I was trying to follow 10 bands who were on the verge of getting signed, and my goal was to try to sort of document the collision of art and commerce and figure out whether we would be okay in making films with integrity and reaching a mass audience. Like, were those two things possible to do together? And I truly didn't know the answer because we had been making a film about a woman in prison in Connecticut who was wrongly imprisoned. And we were sure if we made this film, we'd get her out of prison. And I had come to LA to try to turn it into, anything, like any docs nobody watched documentaries back then. So we're talking about the early 90s.
No streamers, no.
There was nothing.
No Tiger King.
No documentaries.
Yeah.
No documentaries. So I'm out here chasing like Oprah Winfrey's executive producer around Griffith Park in a health walk, trying to get a word in to try to get her to like portray this woman. And anyway, it gets really distorted, and we're thinking, my heart's breaking because this woman's in prison in Connecticut, and I'm thinking, in order to make this and reach millions of people, I'm going to have to compromise the integrity of this film. And they were suggesting all these crazy, sensational changes to the film. So I thought, how can I figure out whether my heart's just going to be splattered by making films and trying to get them to people? As a kid, I just was like, well, I have a camera. Let me just talk to bands. Let me follow bands. And there's so many bands trying to make it in LA. Let's just go follow bands. And it became up and down the West Coast. So I pitch it to MTV. I get a meeting. I'm so excited. And I go in there and I say, 10 bands on the verge of getting signed. We're going to follow them over a year. You're going to see who makes it and who doesn't. It's called The Cut. And then a couple weeks, they were like, thank you for coming in. And then a couple weeks later, I got a bunch of messages on my answer machine, congratulating me for my film, my series getting picked up, The Cut, at MTV. And I had not received any word back from MTV. So I realized at that point, oh my God, this is like highway robbery.
Welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah. So you arrived about then, but we were like filming.
Yeah,
these
we were
different
filming
bands.
a bunch of bands.
And then I heard the music of the Brian Jonestown
Yeah, a friend of
Massacre.
ours gave us a tape.
And I thought this was some music from some band from the 60s that I missed somehow.
Yeah.
And so but she said, no, they're alive and well and they live in San Francisco. And our sister, Rachel, was getting married You couldn't get married if you were gay back then. So she was
Having a life commitment ceremony
Correct.
in Golden Gate Park.
yeah. So we went
The
up
day
there.
after Anton's birthday.
It was exactly, and he said, "Nice to meet you." I think it was the day. No, yes, we met Anton on his birthday.
and then the next day, yeah.
Yeah, and then Dave, you got in trouble with the neighbors for your after party.
210 Waller.
You had just come from Ringo Starr's 50th birthday party or something the night before.
Oh wow!
I don't know about that.
I was. I was. No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I
Oh,
did.
right. That's a whole other
That's
story.
a whole other story. Yeah, but anyway, so we went up there and then we met Anton, and that's how it all started. But I remember saying, yeah, you know, there's 10 bands in the film, and he said, "Oh, forget about all those other bands. I'm taking over your documentary." And I thought, oh my God! And this is like right after the Viper Room, which you're about to see. Half of you know what I mean, and half of you don't. But I wasn't going to argue with him because I was like, I don't want to be beaten up like several of the other people in this. So I just was like, okay, sure, you're going to take over. Yeah, right. You know. He said, we're going up to Portland to make split singles. We're going to take over the music industry.
Yeah.
And at that point, you might want to interject about the state of the music industry.
Yeah. For those of you who are on the younger age of the end of the spectrum here, like there was a time when there was no YouTube and there was no Spotify and there were no streaming services. And if you wanted to get your music out there, it was literally this like cabal of record companies, and they really controlled it. So that was this time. Like there was only one path to getting your music out there, and it was to get signed. So here you have this great band who's putting out, how many records did they put out in 96 or 97? 5 or something?
5 or something.
Yeah.
Like for a case of beer each or something.
Yeah.
He would
But-
just find his way
Yeah.
into places.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was obviously, as you'll see, there's some difficulties when you're thinking of like signing a big $1 million check over to them, right? So
Yeah.
you'll see. But
So
anyway,
actually, that's something really important to say is that, so Anton, you know, he declared that he was going to take over the documentary, and I didn't believe him, but simultaneously, like, we were filming these bands that were kind of cowering in the shadows of the industry and so excited to have their free lunch, you know, with Sony or whatever, some huge Columbia or Interscope, you know, and we would follow them. They would think, oh my God, we're going to get signed. And Anton didn't care whether he was going to get signed. He just made records. And so that was actually very liberating for us as artists and really inspiring.
Yeah.
Since the project was about the collision of art and commerce, he immediately took the lead. And he actually, what happened was within 6 months, his prediction did come true, and he had taken over the documentary.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's like you couldn't cut from him to like some like normal people in LA who really wanted to get signed. It was just like, they didn't fit in the same
And
frame.
then we're partway into making the doc, and we're, you know, scraping it together because neither band is really sound scanning anything, and sound scan is like
Radio
when you know when
plays.
you check out of Tower Records and they scan your thing, like that wasn't happening for either band, so we weren't getting funding, and then we pitched it to MTV again, or VH1.
Well, this is,
And then they
you're
stole it
jumping
again.
far. Yeah,
They
you're
tried
jumping
to
far
steal
ahead.
it.
You're jumping like
I just want to wrap up
many
the
years later.
story
She got,
about,
yes, you're right. You're right. This is after we were starting to cut the documentary,
yeah.
and we were like, wait a minute, we have so much material, we could make a series. Like, oh yeah, a doc series about these two bands. Like, you know, we probably still have enough material we could do it. We could have done it. We pitched it to
We
them.
could still do it.
Yeah, but anyways.
We have
it's
so,
not-
we have 2,500 hours. Of
Yeah, we pitched
There's
it.
several
Yeah.
interns in this place that are going to go through that footage in the next few weeks.
Yes. Welcome, Zach.
Welcome back from Europe. Yeah.
Anyway. but yeah, so we went and pitched it to them. We had this whole like series breakdown, and they're like, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
And then
Yeah.
I have my own series on VH1 at this point. I'm standing outside the cafeteria and somebody comes up and says, congratulations on your new series. I said, what are you talking about? They said, Bands on the Run. It's about your two bands, right? That tour video that you pitched and you showed us all. And it was it was just Brian Jonestown, Dandy Warhols on the road. And it was not ours. It
No.
was, again, they were going to cast
They
four
cast
bands
four
to
bands. Yeah,
compete.
Yeah, that's right. So and you said to them, What you said to your exec at MTV or
I
VH1?
said,
You
"Two bands?"
2 bands? She's like, no, it's 3 bands.
3.
Yeah, that was her excuse.
So
for why I
anyway,
wanted
so
to
that's a
go
lot
back.
of, now that we've thrown Viacom under the bus.
We didn't name any names.
Under the proverbial bus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so without further ado,
we
we're
have
doing
a
a pre-Q&A, which is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But some of you, because it's late, they want us to kind of clear out of here afterwards, I imagine. So, yes, any hands for questions from Dig fans?
But
for those
also-
of you who are new to this.
Yeah, and we may have done some spoilers, but for the half the people here who haven't seen it, like, don't ask a question. Well, you can ask a question, but we might not.
We might not answer it, but
yeah.
the 20th anniversary is next year,
Right.
and for that we're going to work on an extended version of the film. We're going to,
A lot of really good stuff. Because when we came out with the doc, it was long, and everyone's like, "Oh, you can't make a doc longer than an hour and 40 minutes. It's a rule now." And this is in 2004.
Can you imagine?
And now everything's like 2.5 hours long. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
do
we
that.
have that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Right.
So we'll put in some really, really cool stuff. And actually, maybe we should give you guys, okay, so Interloper Films is the company. I'm Ondi Timoner on Instagram and on Twitter. If you guys have ideas of things you want to see more of after seeing the film, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you want to see more of, because chances are we have it. A lot of stuff. A lot of really, really cool stuff that we had to cut. So let us know. Any questions? Yeah, in the back?
If you're it's okay if you can't name the names, but I'm curious what any of the other 10 bands were when they were released.
Oh,
Should
I
we
can name
name
them.
them?
There were some great ones. And we've done some good, like the Negro Problem. I don't know if you know Stu from the Negro Problem.
Dashboard
Profits.
I actually made a film about
Mother Tongue.
Mother Tongue.
Yes.
Mother Tongue is an awesome LA band.
Yeah.
And they weren't cowering in the shadows.
Floor
They were actually
Scene.
signed to Sony, and then they broke up
Oh,
on camera.
wait.
And the movie's called Broken. It's my first music
Yeah,
film,
yeah,
30-minute film.
No, but Floristine. But what was the band? that
Touch
actually-
Candy.
Touch Candy. But there's a band that actually succeeded.
Agnes Gooch.
No, Agnes Gooch is great, but
What? Is that funny or no?
no, but did you shoot it all with who was the lesbian group?
You know them, babe.
Tegan and Sarah. Did we shoot
Tegan and
them
Sarah.
all?
Yeah.
We did.
Tegan and Sarah. Yeah.
We did. Okay.
Oh yeah. Gosh. Floristine, you said it?
Floristine, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember it right now. But that's
Oh,
pretty good.
Ludafisk. Well, yeah, they were just kind of on the same
Yeah.
scene.
And then of course the Dandy Warhols.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, in the back.
After spending so much time with the bands, did you have any moral conflictions when you were putting the final edit together?
That's a great question. I primarily, of the two of us, edited the film, and I came up against a real problem in making Anton likable enough to have you stay with it. And to care.
Yeah, I should say.
And to know
Yeah.
also, like, there's another alternative to making a character likable, which is also making sure that you understand the importance of that character to, music history.
And also explaining their backstory. I think that's a big part.
And so a big breakthrough was about, was putting in his childhood and his background. And I've come to learn in my, as I've matured as a filmmaker and made a lot of films since, that I keep brushing up against this. I have a lot of protagonists that are difficult to like because they're mavericks or they're always pushing the edges, and I call them impossible visionaries because they kind of like act impossibly as they get towards the goal, but they also can see something that we can't see at the time. And I think Anton was really frustrated with a lot of people not being able to see his vision. And the formula is like, put in their childhood by 20 minutes in. Because otherwise people might check out and be like, fuck this guy, So, but that, and also just how much impact Anton's music and his way of making music made on other bands that still thrive to this day. He's truly a remarkable artist, and so I needed to make that clear. But I think there was a cut. It was a 5-hour cut that I was like, I can't cut anything else from this. So we're gonna mine that for some of this extended version. But also, like, I think at 3 3 hours and 40-minute cut was the next cut down, and I was very pregnant at the time with my son, which when we won Sundance, I thanked him for the deadline I couldn't push because he was 11 weeks old. And the fact that he was born like right on, he was going to be born on November 1st really like motivated me to finish. I probably would have just gone on making this film forever, which some of you probably would be happy about because a lot of people have asked me to make Dig 2. But yeah, that was the challenge, I think. And I didn't have too many ethical concerns in terms of like some of the darker moments, which I'm not going to get into here, I cut, and I won't even put in the extended version because it just wasn't necessary to tell the story to damage people and show them in their darkest places, I thought. So, no, I sleep well at night about this film. Right there?
Yeah.
So you shot on what, and you transferred it to 35?
Oh, that's a great
Oh
question.
gosh, we shot on
Let's
Super
name
8,
how long you have.
8mm,
Pixel vision.
Pixel Vision,
A lot of
DV,
Super
mini
8.
DV, mini
Thanks to you, a
DV.
lot of Super 8. He brought Super 8 into the picture, which was crucial, and you'll see it throughout the opening and a lot of these like more sensual moments and retrospective moments and nostalgic music video type moments.
Yeah, kind of
Super 8,
vignettes,
you'll
yeah,
notice.
yeah.
And then High 8, which Avid didn't read High 8. It was like this weird sort of small rectangular tape, and we had to transfer all of that to Beta for the Avid to read.
I mean, for most people to go like, what? None of this
Yeah, and then there was
you guys.
3/4.
So
like,
like,
there was,
anyway, we
then
shot
my
on a
camera
lot
was
of
stolen backstage at
yeah.
the Troubadour, and I was crying. It was a Dandy Warhol show. I was crying on the stairs. It was the best thing that ever happened to me because I had to upgrade to DV. Thank
Right,
God.
digital. I mean, this
Jesus.
is all half analog and like standard def. Like, again, for the young
Then-
people here, I apologize that the screen is shaped the way it is for most footage, and like it looks really crappy compared to.
No,
like,
we
things
purposely
now.
went 4:3 on the format to make it a 60s format.
Okay.
Don't look back.
Never mind.
We
We did it
pur-
on purpose.
We did.
No, I know we did. I'm just
I
saying,
literally
like,
made
I'm just
that
trying to
choice.
explain that it like looks different than everything now, right? And that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, and Braindead folks, you should close the curtains to make it not feel empty.
Okay.
But it's really interesting. We actually had to put it all through sort of a washing machine and dumb down the cleaner footage. And I do want to give a shout out, may he rest in peace, to our third producer, Vasco Nunes, who came on late. He came on after we shot the film, but he was a great cinematographer. And he came on for the last years, actually, I should say. And he upped our game. He shot the very end of like the Dandy Warhols,
Yeah,
when
the
you see
16.
16 millimeter and even
Yeah.
35. Like he shot that film footage.
Yeah. The quality
and he
goes
has
up as
passed
the
away.
film goes on. You kind of see that. Like the quality.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because as the bands succeed, the
filmmaking abilities
Yeah.
excel.
But meanwhile, we were like starving, and the people at the tape shop were like, "Are you going to the grocery store across the street? Because we are worried about you." Because we're just like, "Give us more tapes."
Yeah.
So anyway, without further ado, enjoy Dig. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Braindead, for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.